What's up, folks? Let me put my glasses. I hope everybody's doing good. Andrew, that sounds pretty cool. Pretty awesome. That should be a county sending gem. Hello, Nightmare, Jared, and it's early. She's not sneaking in the middle of the show. I didn't have to say her name 3 times. How's everybody doing on this hump day? Hope everybody is well. As I scan to make sure I caught everybody. And Vixen Dove. Hello, Miss Vixen Dove. Good start to the night. Andrew's telling stories already, man. It's awesome. It's pretty cool, Andrew. I hope you're safe out there. I fooled you, huh? Yeah, you did. Caught me off guard, woman. You caught me off guard. I'm used to having to say your name 3 times or just saying, oh, well, she slept. That's good. That is pretty cool, Andrew. Yeah, usually I don't get a good vibe from when people tell those stories. I don't know what to think of Dogman yet. Or any kind of canine cryptid. 1 second here. You have to forgive me tonight. The allergies are like full bloom today. Pulled a dang muscle in my back. I got a hammer and some tape, duct tape, so if you need me to fix it, I'll be more than happy to. And Mr. Behold himself. I thought you were working nights there, sir. I thought you were working nights. But good to see you, sir. Missed you. Mr. Behold, thunder and lightning and crawl that poop. I shouldn't say crap, but poop sounds better now. Still at work? Okay, I figured. Excuse me. Man, we had spaghetti for dinner, and I actually got heartburn. I don't know if the sauce was really acidy or what the deal was, but man, it never had that happen, or at least in a long time. With the bear sauce off of this, man, it's tearing me up. 1 second. Oh my goodness. Hope I make it through the night. Making my stomach turn. And all that love and bacon being thrown all over the place. That's awesome. Now, folks, remember, Gemma's got 2 books out. So check them out. Gone, Volume 3, and Campfire Stories, Volume 3, I believe. You can check them out. It should be good reads. You know, Campfires is a lot of listener encounters and stories that have been told her. And good morning to you, dear. How are you? And thank you for the bacon. So you need to check those books out. All of a sudden they start selling good. That's good because still good reading. I mean, she's got these many books out. Check them out. Show her a little love. I know money's tight too, so I get it. Kindles are cheaper, but I like to have a hard copy myself. Getting my hair cut, it's down to my waist now, but I'm not cutting it short. Don't do it. Rapunzel, don't do it. Don't let them touch you. Ooh, that would be awful to hear your. I'll be picking up soon. I'll have the others. I'm ready to look at my uncle. I'm lost there, but that's all good with me. Hey, what can you say? Man, that's some long hair though. And like I said, I had a niece, ex-niece, who's niece of my ex. Man, she had really long blonde hair. I mean, down to her butt, just past her butt. I was always amazed. She took real good care of it. But man, it looked good, but it was like It's got to be a pain to take care of. So everybody doing good tonight? All the people hanging out in the background. I hope you're having a good week so far. It is Wednesday, so we're almost there, folks. For those who work Monday through Friday, I know there's a lot of us that work every day, one form or another every day. So I get it. I'm sitting on my deck at night and reading Gemma's book. There you go, Mike. It's still as thick as ever, like wearing a blanket. Wow. I mean, my hairline receded a little bit, but it comes in pretty thick. I'm hoping it grows back soon because I didn't like the way he cut it. When I got my hair cut, it was even up the ends now. No more short hair. I'm going to in a bit. I figured I always give people a little time to wander, and just like for Gemma's replays. But I am planning on it here real soon. Trying to keep an eye on time. I may start a little sooner, but yeah. Yeah, Andrew, if you're in here, man, you should tell your story. That sounds pretty awesome. That'll be a good warm up. Hey, Mr. John P. Adventures, how are you, my good brother? Yes, catch me on this morning. It is a morning, isn't it? Well, I will tell her you send her hugs. If she's not watching somewhere in the corner, she may be asleep. She's had some busy days, so I'm sure she may be passed out. Has she been go, go, go? That's good, though. She needs to get stuff done. They're getting ready to go back to school here soon, and she can get back to her work. She released that book today. It was pretty amazing. Awesome. Well, yesterday, that was today, wouldn't it? I don't know. The days go so fast anymore. Oh yeah, I'm off to bed just listening. There you go, John. You get rest, relax. I'm gonna pop some stories out here in a little bit. I do 10 hours a day. Tomorrow is the last day. Yeah, that's what I loved when I was working for Airwaves. We'd work 2:30 to 2 a.m. No, 3:30 to was it 3 or 3:30? It was 3:30 to 2:30. I loved it, man. I had Thursday, Friday. Well, I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. I've been it cost me over $120 to cut my damn. That's the same. To the people are more than I did. That's funny. That's so good. Hey, Latro, what's up, bud? How you doing, good sir? Yeah, I'm just watching chat. I let it slide. I don't say a whole lot. I don't mind dead air once in a while because I'm letting you guys talk. That's what it does. That's what I do. And I'll start telling stories like I said here in a little bit. Some camping stories and stuff like that to kind of start her book off right. I figured I'd tell a couple of camping stories. So yeah. So you guys about ready? I can go ahead and start here pretty soon. Since we've got 8 people here. 1 second here. Let me clear my throat and get a drink of water. You got to get your paws and claws done. Are you talking about you or the dog? Yeah, it's actually Latro today here. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it was muggy. It got pretty toasty. The big thing here is just the humidity of the air is just so thick. It kills me every time I go outside, man. And the allergies are just going ballistic. Yeah, I bet you can't get away. When do you go again, Edna? You go here soon, don't you? Bacon. Yeah, there's all kinds of bacon flowing around this place. All we need is some waffles. And then you would love my wife. She graduated beauty school in college. Oh, there you go. I keep the house dark and the fans blowing. Yeah, it's the best way to do it here too. Dad bums out because I do too. I like to have the windows open so I can see out. I tell him on days when it's like this, man, you just shut everything up. Better you keep everything inside. You let the windows open. You just let that sun come in and bake everything. It makes the air conditioner work just as hard. Oh, you're leaving Saturday. Oh, there you go. So you won't be around for Gemma's replay. I guess we can make fun of her, Mike, while she's gone. You didn't. Yeah, chicken and waffles is good, actually. My mom's place got hit by, yeah, up in north. Oh, man, that sucks, Latro. Send my love. Yeah, because a lot of places up north got tagged last night. Up north of me, we didn't barely see it, but a little bit of rain off and on, then it was done. But they got slammed just north of us. I would say starting about Delaware up, if you look on a map. That sucks. Heart goes out to her, bud. Really does. I've been in a tornado. I've seen enough of them. My heart goes out. He was never a girly girl. See, my Ashley, she's my girly girl. Sammy's my tomboy. John's just a pain in the butt. I'm just kidding, son. Love him dearly. Actually, Ashley acts more like my mother than any of us boys ever did. I kind of look like my mom. Well, actually, I do look a lot like my mom. They always tried to teach us as kids not to fill our gas tanks on hot days. Friday, fill tank and fill off the fuel line. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Power is out, some trees down. Yeah, I know you guys. They've still got us, Latro, in the red because of everything up north of us. So much power's out. They thank God they have a generator. That helps. You're welcome, Latro. My daughter was the girly girl. So is my granddaughter. She gives you pedicure. Hey, there you go. That's all right, man. Good pedicure and manicures are nice to have once in a while, man. They are good to have. The little one's just like me, tempered. Uh-oh, that could be trouble. That could be trouble, Edna. That's funny. But yeah, let's see what kind of here. 12, 13. I'll give it to about 20 after, and then we'll start stories. I'm going to start with one when I pretty much the time I actually started going camping. So I made my friend Gary get one of my like somebody. He started going once a month. Hey man, they feel good. I've had them a couple times. I won't let them touch my feet. My feet's messed up. Toes have been broken too many times. Hey Ron, how you doing? Yeah, good man. I'm glad you showed up. Just a little bit. Let them talk for a little bit before I start talking. I only let paint. Oh, there you go. So we see. I was a punker. They did my nails once. I looked at them and like, no, nope. The little one that's light is so bright, Gus. She's your sunshine. She's liable to be a handful when she gets older, too. Just be aware of that. But the brightest ones are always they're not always the timid, quiet ones that shine in the dark. They sometimes are the ones that are out there burning the place down. But if she's anything like you, because you're pretty bright too, that whole family's lit like Edison's first electric company. I don't know, man. You guys are pretty bright all together. I can only imagine. Well, the baby was pretty bright too. There was a new game cam pick of Bigfoot-like creature captured in Ohio. No, I've heard. I think I may have seen it in one of the trail cam footage I saw just recently. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's the one I'm thinking of. So I'll have to go look for it though. I bet it won't be hard to find. Some of us travel to the drum beat drum. I know we do. We all do. Except my drum is kind of old and tattered now. He's coming over tomorrow. Goes he going to babysit for a bit? Oh no, there's trouble right there. The kid's gonna be so spoiled. All those kids are probably gonna be so spoiled if they're not already. No, I'm just kidding. I love how YouTube's chat is so much faster than StreamYard's. It was discussed on Bigfoot channel. We'll find a link. Hey, yeah, I found a link. Let me know. I gotta get Gemma to give you a wrench because I don't know how to do that, and I think she has to do it from her YouTube. I've never done it before, and I'd rather have her permission. She's the keeper of it's her channel. All right, hurry back. Don't work too hard. Don't fall over a wrench or anything. Keep your tools picked up. My drum's drying up. I don't know about mine anymore. My this drum skin is getting a little soggy. Oh, forgive me. Man, I've never had spaghetti sauce give me heartburn like that before. It's like, wow, man, it's been years. Any story? Yeah, I'm getting ready to start here pretty soon, Ron. Just have to bear with me. Like I said, I'm fighting acid reflux. Wow. But yeah, I am going to start telling some here in a minute. In a little bit here. Like I said, yeah, just like Gemma's replay, I give time for people come in and say hi and talk about the day. And I'd still always let you guys get time to talk with each other. I don't feel like I'm interrupting you. Yeah, it does. To me, sometimes. I'm telling you. You know, I don't mind growing old. I wouldn't go back to do anything over again. My life was pretty good. I mean, other than the weird stuff and some craziness, wasn't exactly a good boy, but I had a good life. I can't complain. If I go tomorrow, I'd be content. I've made peace as much as I could with everything, so no reason to go back. No reason. And I've wandered off so many times off the path, I probably wouldn't be able to find where I wandered off to. But I guess that's the whole point now. Well, I'll tell you what, Ron, she's doing pretty darn good because she's getting feisty again. He's alive. Yeah, I'm alive. How are you, Juan? And I will get with you. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention. Things have changed a little bit till probably September. Pixie is going to be on tomorrow night. First of all, Gemma's books. People in the background. Our ghostly little friends. Love to have you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to start stories here in a little bit. Or encounters. I prefer to call them encounters because even though I can't prove any of them, they actually happened to me or people I knew. Her two new books came out. You had Gone, Mysteries and Disappearances. That's the third one's out for Volume 3 is out for that, and Volume 3, I think it's Volume 3 for Ghosts. Campfire Stories. Good book. Encounter book. That's all encounters. A little bit of campfire stories for you. Always good books. I enjoyed them. Check them out. Tomorrow night, Pixie at 8 o'clock. She will be here tomorrow, Thursday. Gemma and Me, Friday night, 7:15. She's been starting early, so might want to get there a little early. And those who leave their names on the list, I start looking at chat about depends between anywhere between 5 and 6. So those people who are already in saying hi, I usually try to make them first. And so if I miss somebody that was on there earlier, it just didn't show up when I clicked in. That's usually what happens because it will only stay there for so long. Let's see what else. And I'll be here Saturday for GEMMA'S replays. And then another week till me again. And then hopefully Tuesdays we'll get kicking again when Gemma gets back and the little man gets to school. She misses you guys. Fridays it's just not enough for her anymore. Oh, I got the heartburn. I could too. I take Nexium. I have Barrett's esophagus, so it makes it even worse. That's why my voice is so screwed up right now, because it attacks my Barrett's esophagus, attacks the esophagus and everything. Well, hello there, Jason Finch. But yeah, it sucks. But hey, what can I do? Between the tremors and the talking, it's just life. What do you say? What? 2 cups of what? I hope everybody's good. Boil 3 bay leaves of water about 2 minutes. Oh, I've never heard this one. Add a teaspoon of baking powder and bay leaves from the tea cup. And curd. Oh, okay. I want to go back and look at that. Hello. I did not. That's a new one to me. I'm just running through, making sure. Cold milk goes. That's usually what I do, is get a really cold glass of milk, coat my stomach real good, and chills it out pretty fast. Sometimes just a plain piece of bread, because it soaks up the acid. I mean, when it starts getting to see, I have that valve that doesn't work, and I don't. So, yes, you can tell you can feel great, Edna. But there's a couple days that I've kind of been concerned about you. You can't hide everything. You look trying to get in my head, and I can get in yours. But you're doing good. I'm proud of you. Yeah, I got my water right here. Yeah, I made sure it was good before I started. I take Nexium. Usually I have to take it twice a day. That's the only reason I can eat, because of the Nexium. Because the acid reflux so bad, it just destroyed my throat years ago and gave me that Barrett's esophagus, which really sucks. That'll be the day. Yeah. Give me a break. Do you want a story or not? Excuse that. I don't like doing that, but I can't keep clicking on. Yeah, she's doing well, all right. So that means, Mike, you got to be careful what you say now, because she can chase you. She can catch you now. You might have had a chance a few weeks ago, but I don't think you do now. No, that's fine. Okay. I need to spend a week with each of you and heal you all. I don't know if I'll ever be able to be healed, but I'm pretty much out there, gone. I'll heal a day when I can actually sleep 24 hours nonstop, not rocking, not moving, not doing anything, and actually sleep. Then that'd probably be the last time I ever get up again. To be honest, I had actually had somebody tell me I'd probably pass in my sleep. That's probably true. Either that or cutting grass, because this seems to be the thing with men in this family. Is quite a few of my past cutting grass. Every time I took those meds, I felt like I was, yeah, and you do, and you were. Sometimes, why do I kept telling you to have them check you? Why I kept telling you, get a second opinion, get a second opinion. That will on yourself goes, I'm good. Hey man, I'm at peace anyway, so life's short. Have fun while you do it, man. Try to make the best of it. Yeah, you're gonna have up and down days, but just be happy because you really don't know if you're gonna wake up the next morning. Come check out Northwoods and you got to see a lot of critters. Oh, I bet there is tons of critters. Edna would probably love it there. And his name's Forrest. I love that too. But one day above ground is a good day. Isn't it the truth? One day above ground is a good day. That wouldn't mind crawling around. Speaking of, I think I'll go ahead and start telling some. Every day is a good day. In my case, I always say every day I wake up is a great day, a new beginning. Because I'm waiting for that morning. That scares my kids, I'm telling you. My son saw me in here sleep one day. He said I was out for an hour and I did not move. And I was pretty sick at the time. And he said he had to come in here and kept checking, leaning over to hear me breathe, make sure I was breathing. But he didn't want to wake me because he said, man, you look so peace. But he said it started to scare me about an hour. Like you said, Dad, start checking you after an hour. So I started checking you. Yeah, good vibes tonight. Yeah. I'm going to start telling some stories here in a minute. I keep saying that, but I'm just letting you guys check because that's kind of what the night's about. But I am going to start. We're getting there. Yeah, it's 12:30, close enough. 12:28. Let me light up a smoke. Maybe I'll help chill my acid reflex, make it worse. Yeah, but I do hope you're all having a wonderful night. And kind of in the spirit of Gemma's new book. Well, what did Dixon say here? I refuse to take them. Yeah, a lot of people do. In the spirit of Gemma's book, I am going to do some of my camping stories. I always had this weird time camping, even when me and the ex used to go camping when we first started dating and becoming an item. And then after we got married, we always made it a point for us to go camping. Was go alone one time, and then with the kids. Excuse me, guys. This was that was pretty young. I was probably about 7 or 8. It was about the time. Now, when I was 7, 6, 7, 8 was when I saw a lot of the other stuff. Then with people as I got older. But, anyways, we had gone camping with friends. I went camping with friends. The Millers behind us. Actually, it was older than that. It was about 8 or 9. Because I remember because a lot of weird stuff happened that summer. So I think it was 8. I'd gone up with them for like spring break for Michigan, up to Kalamazoo, Michigan. And it was kind of nice. They were right on the lake. Had a house, they rented a house. It was nice. I was really impressed. And a dock out front and then the lake. And we were out to swim one day. And I didn't think much of it. But we kept hearing other kids. But when we were there, it was like everybody goes to Florida and stuff. So it wasn't busy. It was a lot of older people around us. And we never saw no kids the whole time we were there, but we would hear kids screaming, playing, but sound. So we were out. That was like the first day we were there. That night we were out there swimming. It was just as the sun was going down. We could hear kids screaming and yelling. And it sounded like they were having fun. Just a suggestion. You should try to collab with other channels. You're gonna get a lot of new viewers. Yeah, actually, me and Gemma, I want to do stuff with other people and stuff. So, and I do Ryan on Thursdays now, and then when Gemma comes back, we'll be doing all together on Tuesdays for Tuesday Talk at 1. It'll be the three of us. So, and as people get to know me, I'm sure maybe I'm kind of finicky. I have a hard, believe it or not, I have hard enough time doing these streams. I have to work myself up to do them, but I love doing them. It is kind of a therapy. But to get back to my story, excuse me. So that night came and nothing major happened. It was a nice house. I mean, he's been around, like they've been around since like the 50s, maybe 40s. And yes, please hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment too. So I never knew this first time I've ever been there, and they go every year. Doug used to say weird stuff would happen inside the cabin. They would leave, and when they get home, they'd be missing all kinds of stuff, or stuff would show up missing while they're there, or that not like somebody was stealing or anything, but it was like he said it was like gone. Stuff would be like you'd put it down and it'd be gone. They'd find stuff moved around, but they never made they weren't making a big deal out of it. But anyways, we're there that night. Nothing happens. I didn't think about it, just regular night, first night in Michigan. So we were hanging out and doing our thing. Went to bed, got up. They drove. We went around sightseeing around Kalamazoo and hung around. Came back about 3:00 in the afternoon. And I remember because it was because they always ate. They're like us. They always tried to eat between 5 and 7. Because they were early eaters, so it was usually between 5 and 6. Oh, excuse me. And he's out there cooking on the grill. Me and Doug are sitting on the edge of the dock. And we start hearing these kids screaming and yelling again. Didn't think anything of it. We were listening. But finally, Doug stands up and goes, "Where are these kids that I keep hearing them, but I never see any kids around?" So we stood up and we was pacing around, walking up and down, kind of like backyards. And we're walking down looking for kids. No kids at all. But you could hear them. You could hear them. Some old lady goes, "What's the matter, boys? You hear the kids?" And Doug goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "We don't know where that sound comes from. It's done it since we've been here, and that was in 1953. And I'm like, "What? You guys have been coming here since 1953? She goes, "Yeah, I came here as a girl." And I'm like, "Holy cow." Because it belongs to my family. We just pass it on every year. But those kids, you hear those kids every year about this time, about spring break, but we can never figure out where they were coming from. So I don't know if they were ghosts. I don't know. It's just residual effect. I don't know what the land was used for. But she and so me and Doug got to talking. Well, here's these two inquisitive little 8-year-olds going around and start talking to a lot. Because like I said, a lot of them were older people. I think we ran into one house that was like 5 down that had a daughter with them, a granddaughter with them. And she was like 3 years older than us. And we were like the only kids there, which really kind of freaked me out and kind of creeped me out too. But yeah, we never did. We were asking questions. It was like, yeah, that you hear them. And I would say, oh, maybe it's Cedar Point or something. But no, we're on Michigan. So we never did figure out where the sound came from. But every day, lady says it starts about 2:30 and it will stop probably about 6 or 7 o'clock sometimes, depending on the time change is when it stops. But she says it always seems to stop just before the sun goes down. And she says it does. It doesn't even sound like they're screaming in pain or anything. It's just like kids screaming and playing. That's what it sounds like. You can actually almost hear at points water splashing, but they have no idea. I never got to go back and see what the land was on. I don't even know where to put. I mean, if I go up there now, I might be able to get a general idea where this was, this house, cabin, whatever it was supposed to be, boat house. But yeah, I have to get the address from him. I don't even know if they still live behind us anymore. He's done growing up and gone. I haven't seen Doug in years. But yeah, we drove us nuts. We spent probably, we were there for a week, and we probably spent 3 days just trying to figure out where these kids were at. It was creepy. We go run around with his parents all day and come home. And that's what we did. We even got in a little boat and went up and down the side. Everybody going, what are 2 8-year-olds doing in a boat? One old lady goes, oh, they're fine. But yeah, we never figured out who it was, what it was. It wasn't really a camping story, but in a way it kind of was because they were pretty sprawled out. It was neat. Yeah, medical bills suck. But yeah, I don't know if they were ghosts. I never did. I always wanted to go back and kind of find out what the address was, find out what that property was used for, maybe. I have no idea. One lady told me those houses were built like some of them were built in the late 40s, some of them were built in the beginning of the 50s, mid 50s. So I don't know. But it was weird because at times it got really loud. And Doug would say, man, they sound like they're right here. And I'm going, I know. It actually, one day it got so loud, it actually scared him out of the water for a while. He wouldn't get back in the water. But it was always right there. It was like maybe a mile span. You could hear it. And at some spots, as you would travel up and down the houses, would be louder than others. It was weird. I never seen or heard anything like that ever. It's the thing. They were, like kids playing on a. You know how loud kids get on a playground, the yelling and the screaming. Sometimes you'd hear fighting in the background. When you're standing by a playground full of a bunch of kids, and how loud it can be. That's what it sounded like. But it sounded like they were in the water because you would hear water splashing sometimes. It was weird. And the lady said this was gone on for years. That had always been kind of a joke to them. They never figured out if it was, what it was. I always said maybe there's a border there somewhere, and that's another time period, another time dimension, or a mirror of what should have been going on. I don't know. But it was weird. I mean, we literally spent, I think, at least 3 days after running around with your mom and dad all day, coming back, eating, and then walking that beach. We finally just gave up and went with it. But it still creeps me out sometimes because I would love to know, did something happen there? Was that place? Because at points, it sounds like you can hear kids arguing and fighting. And then there's other times it just sounds like playground. Kids on a playground playing. Hospital bills suck. Believe me, I know. They suck big time. So that's the thing. I wish I'd. The last day, speaking of rainy day, the last day we were there, it rained. And you could still hear them, even over the rain. It was wild. I liked being there. It was kind of cool. But I was happy when I left because it would stop. Just as the sun went down, it would stop. Just cold stop. Spirits of children probably who died there, which is possible. See, I don't know if there's been drownings there. I don't know if something bad happened there. But it was a nice, kind of forestry, along the lake. It was nice. It was actually when you weren't hearing the kids, it was a very peaceful kind of vibe because a lot of older people were there. Like I said, there was only one other kid that we saw the whole time we were there. A lot of it were like people in their 60s and over. Maybe people would come visit them while they were there. because a lot of them, would leave for the summer or come and stay a few weeks. That's what they were. But some of them have been coming there for, ever since they were kids. And they said they've always heard that. Oh, yeah, wait till you get that bill. Just better hope you got a good insurance, man. They got to have great insurance. There's a similar place in Alabama. Really? What did I hear? Like I said, and it sounded like listening to a bunch of kids on a playground, but go to a public pool and throw a bunch of kids in that pool and listen to them play. That's what it sounded like, but really loud at times, and other times you could barely hear it. That's what it sounded like, kids playing in a pool. That's what it sounded. That's a better way to put it. Like going to the public pool and listen to the kids, how they get screaming and yelling and playing. That's what it sounded like. Every so often you hear an argument in the background, two kids fighting over something. But that's what it knows. It was weird. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, when we were 8 years old, Doug always thought it was a joke. He just never really thought anything about it. One sec. But yeah, that was probably one of the weirdest things I ever experienced as to weird and off the wall things. Because, when you talk to the people there that were there when we were there, most of them had heard it every time they've come there. And like a couple of the older people said, they've heard it for years. For years. So, I was thinking maybe we were talking about this the other day with Patricia. And I go, maybe it was a tribe, an Indian tribe, but settled there for a while. And that was the kids in the tribe playing out in the water. I don't know. I have thought of every scenario that could have left a residual, because it kind of sounded like a residual effect. It was always in between certain times. But I was young. I never went back to look and find out what was going on, I didn't think about it until I was leafing through stuff trying to think of stories to tell tonight, Encounters. My car was at the garage since Friday until this morning. I thought it was going to cost. That's not bad. That's good. You got lucky. Vixen. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking too. We were like Patricia said, it's possible. Do you know anything about the land? See, that's the thing. I know nothing about that land. Yeah, it's called the Dead Children's Playground. I've heard about that place. Yeah, I've heard about that place with the kids. It's next to the cemetery. Yeah. I saw the video where a couple dads with their kids were there. One time was this one dad and the swings were moving, swinging by their daughter and stuff. Yeah, I've seen some of the videos that come out of that place. A creepy place. But, kids get lonely too. They want to play on the playground. Yeah, now, as soon as you said Huntsville, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Mermaids. Now, see, that's interesting to think. That's possible. That's really possible. I never thought of that either. There's been reports, and stories about mermaids being in lakes and stuff. And those lakes up there, they're pretty massive and they're pretty deep. Not as deep as the one where in Russia or somewhere. There's one that's like super deep, but yeah, that's true, Edna. We do walk on the ashes of the ones that come before us. Yes, we do. But I just thought it was weird because I consider that one of the strangest events in my life because nobody could explain it. Nobody could tell us any stories about any events. Nobody knew why it happened. They just remember it always happening between these times. And it was weird to hear because there were times it would get loud enough like you would think it was right there. Like I said, the one time it got really loud, Doug got out of the water and he wouldn't get back in the water for like 2 days. I mean, he didn't almost. In fact, he didn't get in the water until the day we left. We swam for a little bit in the morning. I have a suggestion: do a series of urban legends from every state. I was thinking about having Gemma do that too, because that would be right up her alley. New Hampshire has a history of haunted places. Yeah, there's a lot of them here too, Lily. But people don't think about. I mean, that's why you really. It would go. This is the most haunted state. No, I haven't been or talked to somebody that's been in a state that I haven't been in, where there is thousands of different creepy stories. It's just Ohio's so weird anyway. And Indiana's weird. I mean, the United States is just a weird place because we have a lot of strange stuff that goes on, just as much as the other countries do. There's a place close by called the Horse Hole. People would stop along the trail and water the horses. They say you could sometimes hear horses went. Oh, that. Well, it's like I tell the stories of how I was along the river. We go down here to the Old Tangy River. And Texas is definitely haunted. Go down here by the Old Tangy River and fish. When we were younger, you'd hear more. I don't know if you could really hear it now because there's a highway right there. So it's always kind of loud. But when we were younger, the highway wasn't used as much and they was building the highway. When I was really young, there was no highway there, no 315 there. And you could hear at night, or I'd say pre-evening and early morning and late evening, it would sound like horses coming down the side of the river. And you'd hear people talking, but nobody would ever show up. And you would hear that sometimes. And nobody go, I've never heard that. I go, you didn't listen. Now, did you? Because there was like three or four times that we were down there fishing. It was like, what the heck is that? And that was the only thing we can come up until we went up to the Worthington Library and did our research. And, we found out that, they used the river to haul goods up and down. People have died. Indians have done things. So it's highly possible that's what we were hearing, a residual effect of an event, which makes sense because it happened like 3 nights in a row. And there was a couple, the second night, it was so loud. It was just so loud. But then they put the highway in, you could barely hear yourself now. Not far from here is a graveyard used in the original. Yeah. I've seen that house. I've seen pictures of people take pictures of the house. Revolutionary War. That's probably possible too. But yeah, that was probably one of the strangest events in my life. I consider. And I was leaping through this stuff and I was over there going through stuff, and it was like, man, I haven't thought about this in a long time. But that was probably one of the strangest. I mean, I've had some strange events, but that's one of the oddest strange events. I mean, nobody knew where these kids were coming from. Nobody had an idea, what was on the land. I mean, I'm sure somebody, if I stood there long enough and was a little bit more of an 8-year-old, I probably found out. But nobody knew. Nobody knew. Most of the people there just said it happens every year. It happens all spring. They say it starts around springtime, ends about June, July, and then it doesn't pick up again until then. So you're talking between the months of what? April, May, and June, and July, 4 months that this goes on, and nobody knows why. That's wow. Bigfoot, Dogman, yeah. Wood Devils in Coos County, New Hampshire. And there's places like that all over the place. You see, that's what I'm thinking too. It's some kind of a residual because it's always between those months. I mean, that I remember because I even wrote that down. The number of the ladies that we talked to, and a couple of the older guys. We talked to these 2 guys on the fishing boat, and they would tell us, those the kids are not what you have to worry about. It's the critters that live out in the middle of this lake is what you got to worry about to come up at night. I know they were trying to scare us, but no. Once they stopped joking with us, they were like, "Yeah, we hear it." You go out there, and he goes, "You go out there a ways and fish, and you can hear it." He said, "But there's a point that if you go out too far, then you don't hear it anymore. But as you come in, you can hear it too. If you come in quiet." That's the first thing that popped in my head. Yeah, see, that was mine too. It's just so weird because I've never experienced anything like that. Now I've experienced glitches. Now here's a camping glitch that I had. We went camping. I was probably 10, and my parents didn't do a whole lot of camping, so I always went with friends. And me, Dan, and I went with this. Me and Dan, which was a friend of mine up all the way through high school. Went camping with a friend of ours named Billy Frieder with his family. And we went up just past Delaware Park up by the reserve. There's campgrounds. And we're up there camping, and we were there for the weekend. It was kind of fun. And Saturday night, we were all hanging around the fire pit, and it's pretty dark. I had to go to the bathroom. Well, you have to walk all the way up this trail and go to the, public bath. And I walked up the trail, went to the bathroom, came back down. We're all down there, we're all drinking pop and stuff. So, going to the bathroom. So about 2 hours later, I decided I have to go again. And I get halfway up the trail, and usually about halfway up the trail, you can see the freaking public restroom. It had showers and all that stuff. And I'm like, I couldn't see it. I'm like, where's it at? So I keep walking, and I'm still not seeing it. I'm like, did I get on the right path? And I wasn't, I'm a kid. I wasn't drunk or anything. I didn't do anything. And I'm still walking, and I'm still waiting to see it. I'm going, well, maybe the lights have been turned off, and I just can't see it in the dark. And I didn't have a flashlight, so I just kept walking up the path. I get all the way to the top of the path, and it's not there. The thing is gone. And I'm like, there's no way. It's right here. I just went to the bathroom right here. So I freak out, and I run back down the path, get back to our campsite, and I'm going, guys, the bathrooms are gone. No, they're right up there. Like, dude, I just went a couple hours later. I know where the bathrooms are, but they're gone. So Mr. Frieder gets up and walks up with me. He goes, are you okay? And he's talking to me like, dude, are you okay? Billy always says you're a weird kid. This was before he passed away of cancer. Bless his heart. Good man. Anyways, he's talking to me, trying to calm me down. I'm like, dude, they're gone. They're not there. We get to the halfway point. You can see them just up over. You come over this ridge. You can see it sitting up there, the lights and all. And the lights were on and everything. And it's sitting right there. And I'm going, no way. And I'm crying. I'm going, no, it was gone. It upset me to the point I knew I was freaking him out. No, it wasn't there when I went up there. He goes, are you going to be okay now? And I said, yeah, I guess. After he talked to me for a while. So I go up to the restroom, come back down. He's still waiting. He at least waited for me. And I came back down, man, and we walked back down together. He's calming me down. He goes, I told you. I'm telling you, when I hit that halfway point and didn't see those lights, it was like I was standing in pure darkness. It was weird. It was like I walked through something maybe. I still remember this very clearly because I walked all the way to where they were there. They were not there. They were gone. It was just darkness and trees. That's all that was there. And it really freaked me out because when we were coming up the path, you can see a little bit of the glow from lights. There was no glow to the lights until we hit that halfway point. And I always call it the halfway point because it's literally halfway there. And you come up on this ridge and then you flatten out and then there it is. Maybe I did. I don't know. But it was creepy. It did freak me out when I was a kid because, it was gone. It was not there. And it was creepy because I remember standing there. I wasn't scared. I didn't get upset until we went back and there it was. And it made me feel like, oh, now they're going to really think I'm nuts. But it wasn't there. It was not there. There was nothing but darkness. And the only thing, it was weird because the only thing I could see was there was another campsite just the opposite way. because it wasn't a very busy week, man. Because all the other campsites were full up toward the front. Now there's some like a pond behind us, but it was just a fun place to go hang out for the weekend. I don't know, but it was weird. And I stood there, and I know because I stood there for a bit before I came back and told him it was gone. I know I was standing there for a good 5 minutes trying to figure it out. And that's when I just ran back. I know it may sound like that, but I did. I stood there. And it still freaks me out. It's like, did I see a different time? Did I go through some kind of time? I don't know, but it happened so fast. I went up, turned around, looked around, freaked out a little bit. I was trying to make sense of it all. And then I just went, screw it, and then I booked down the hill. But I know I stood there for a while. And where it should have been standing. Where the building should have been, I was standing there. But I hadn't gone back to that particular. Excuse me. I never went back to that particular campgrounds again. I don't think I've ever been back there. And it's still right up there. It's still open. But it kind of messed me up a little bit. Oh, I bet there is. And then there was this time we went camping. This was about 17. We used to sneak off, tell everybody we were working over the weekends. We'd all meet at Dan's house. We loaded up the car and drove up to Cleveland. And then hung around Cleveland because he has friends. His family's from Cleveland, so he has friends up there. There are relatives he could go hang out with. So we went up there and hung out with his friends and his relatives that he's gotten to know over the years. And then we went over to this campsite over by where me and Tina used to. It was before me and Tina. That's what made me think of this place because Tina liked this place too. It was called Marblehead. There's a lighthouse there. And that's where me and Tina used to go camping all the time. But it was before I even met her. But there's a campgrounds there. So we went up. That's inland a little bit. It's not so close to the lake. So you have to drive a little bit to get to the lake. But it's a neat little campground, nice little forest. And what was that? Do you have missing time? I skipped only twice. I didn't miss time that night. But there was one time out in Colorado. And then one time here when I was a kid. But that was really weird. And I don't remember much of it. So that's why I don't tell that story because it's really weird. I'm afraid that it's just weird. And I was by myself. And it was when I was living by myself. I can't explain it. But yeah. But anyways, we go to this campground. I'll tell that here. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And we're settling in. We're there for like 4 nights. We went on Thursday. We were going to head back Monday. And hung out for a couple of days. This campsite never had a problem before. Never saw anything there before. You know, just a good place. Barely anybody there. They pretty much everybody and the people there, they just pretty much leave you alone. So we went up there and partied it up and was having a good time. But one night, I think it was Sunday night. It was the night before we left. We all got pretty drunk, so we were all pretty passed out. Illegal kids drinking, fun, having all that good time. So we all crashed. I'm me. I wasn't much of a drinker anyway, so I'm laying me and Dan are in the same tent. I'm just laying on top of my sleeping bag, trying to get comfortable. Because he's the only one that can tolerate my rocking, because he's one of the few friends that actually knew that I rocked before anybody. And he just ignores me. So I'm laying there rocking and trying to calm down the day and everything. And then I kept hearing what sounded like, it didn't sound like something was hitting a tree. It sounded like something was hitting a pan, like somebody was banging on an old, it wasn't like a tin sound, but it did sound like something metal that was, I don't know, dulled or something, or whatever they were using to hit it with wasn't very. It was weird. It was like a thuddy ting or whatever. I kept hearing these sounds and I didn't think nothing of it. So finally I dozed off and I woke up to Dan going, man, you're rocking so hard you're shaking the tent. Because he wakes me up. He goes, you're rocking, dude. You're shaking the whole tent. Dude, you must be up against the tent. So I scoot away from the edge of the tent and he finally goes back over and lays down. And then I'm laying there and all of a sudden the whole tent just starts shaking. Then I hear the people in the tent beside us go, dude, are you shaking our tent? And then Dan wakes up and goes, what the hell? The whole tent. We go climbing out of the tents and there's nobody there. But it was like somebody was holding your tent and shaking it. But there was no, I mean, we would have heard them run off. But the whole tent was shaking. We all climbed back into sleep. Next thing you know, we're quiet. You could hear us all kind of mumbling to each other, going, what the hell's going on? You know, it was doing it to their tent too, because we had two tents. And we wake up a little. I fell asleep, and it was really weird because I fell asleep. And usually, if I get real bad, Dan will wake me up. Dan didn't wake me up. I woke up on my own. And I wake up and I sit up, and this is probably about 4 o'clock in the morning by this time. The sun wasn't up yet. And I noticed the front of our tent is all lit up. And I opened it, and I'm like, somebody set us on fire? And I zip open the tent. Somebody lit the campfire. Relit the campfire. But those guys, you can hear the guys in the other tent, they're snoring. I mean, they're so loud. Both of them were snoring. Dan's out. I'm like, who lit the campfire? Because we all remember putting water on that campfire. And it was out. So we never did figure out what happened. We got up, and the campfire was still burning. I was sitting out there. In fact, I made a pot of coffee. I said, screw it, I'm up. So I stayed up with the campfire. So I figured somebody built it for us. I might as well use it. So they woke up to me sitting there drinking a cup of coffee. And Dan's like, did anything happen else? I go, I woke up to a campfire, dude. And they go, what? I go, this was lit. I didn't have to start the fire. It was already lit. And they're like, no way. And I'm going, yeah. He goes, well, now we have to put it out before we leave. And I go, I didn't light it. I mean, I argued with these guys for like an hour. It was weird. But not as weird as the voices. The only thing I think of was down on the way home, Dan kept saying, well, maybe we just didn't have the coals out. Maybe there was just something that was just in there enough to keep it till it dried out enough to catch something on fire. And I go, dude, it was cruising when I woke up. I don't know how you guys didn't wake up. Our tents were all glowing. I'm like, I don't know. But it was pretty well because I've had people tell me about that same place, tell me that they hear what sounds like German being talked. And I'm like, huh? And he goes, yeah. This guy was telling me, I've been in that campground. If you walk at night, it sounds like you hear German people talking. It's German. He goes, I know German. I speak German. He goes, it's German. And I don't know. So that's wild. Just the thing about encounters, they're so short. And I don't like tacking on any extras. I don't like doling it up. I mean, unless there's specific things I need to tell you. I don't need to glamour it up all because what happened, happened. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When we were 18, we went camping. We went to Florida. I was 18, Dan. I was my senior year. We went to Florida for spring break. I went with Dan, with his family, down to Florida for spring break. They have money. His dad was a middleman for companies like Planter Peanuts and Weiler's Kool-Aid and stuff like that. So, he was also an investor in the Browns. So they had 50-yard line seats at the games. Anyways, I go to Florida with him. I finally saved up my money to go with him one year, to our senior year. So Dad, Mom, let's go. I go, well, I'm 18. I'm going to go anyways. So we went. I went down with him. We hung out for a while and had a pretty cool time. I got to meet Tom Petty and everything. Well, 1 week, we were there for 2 weeks, actually 2.5 weeks. His mom and dad goes, oh, we're going to stay a couple more days. But we were late getting back to school. But anyways, I think it was the second week we decided to go camping over by the Everglades. I'll never do that again, man. The noises you hear at night that come out of those places, man. It's not that I couldn't sleep. It just at times it got so loud it literally sounded like you were in a jungle. And everybody says it's usually not that loud. But I'm pretty sure what we were hearing that night, because it was like whooping and hollering. And we were really in and we were young. I mean, 18. We were kind of naive to all this stuff. And we had one guy said, you probably were hearing the skunk ape. And I'm like, there's no way. He goes, no, that's probably what you were hearing. And whooping and hollering. And you could hear trees being pushed. I mean, Dan wanted to actually, he's a football player. He wanted to leave. And I'm like, dude, we're here. Enjoy it. I mean, they're not going to come at us. Whatever it is staying out in the swamp. I don't want to go out there anyways. This is gators are out there and stuff. But it went on all night. I don't think any of us that night slept. Me and Dan both were like, we left the next day. You just couldn't sleep. Well, I don't sleep anyways, but he didn't sleep. He was like sitting up a couple of times just listening, going, that's loud. That's loud. And they would sound like trees were being broke. You'd hear hooting and hollering. And I kept telling him, it could just be a bunch of guys messing with us. I mean, it could be anything. And they could have been. I'd say that's about the closest other than to seeing the guy. I still think it might have been the guy in the gunny suit because a lot of illegal turkey hunting goes down in Athens and Logan and all that. I'm pretty sure that I don't know what I saw today, but I'm still thinking it might have been the guy in the gunny suit. Turkeys were going nuts that day, so it'd be a good time to get one even out of season. Cheesecake. Oh, we're talking cheesecake now. Greg used to make a great cheesecake, man. I'm not a cheesecake guy, but I eat his. It was pretty good. What was that Florida Bigfoot-like creature called? He said the old man called it a skunk ape. That's what he called it. Because we talked to him on our way out. Well, we're sure that's what you heard. Okay, well, we probably won't be coming back to these campgrounds. I don't think Dan ever went camping after that. I don't ever remember him ever going with us again. In fact, I don't think he did. He always found an excuse. Oh, we're going to work. I got practice. I'll tell you what, those Everglades are cool. I mean, I see why people are, kind of drawn to them. There's a beauty about them that's just amazing. While we were down there, we went on one of those the big fans, hovercrafts, and whatever they're called, fan boats, over the Everglades, and that was really cool. Saw some pretty big gators too. Some of them were huge. Yeah, skunk ape. That's what the old man called it, skunk ape. That's exactly what he called it. Apparently, we weren't far from where that lady took the picture. The real famous picture where she said that she sent it to somebody saying this is a skunk ape she saw in her backyard in Florida. Apparently, we weren't that far from that where the picture was taken, because there were houses on the other side of the campground as you come in. So I don't know. We didn't see anything, but man, they were loud. It was loud. I never heard anything so loud. I honestly thought it was people messing with us, to be quite honest. But man, it went on all night. In fact, when it stopped, it was like an hour probably before sun came up. And we got up and we hung around for a little bit and ate breakfast and kind of chilled. Nothing bothered us. We packed up and Dan goes, I want to go. I don't like it here. And we left. In fact, he got we got $30 back because we had paid for a couple nights, and they even gave us the money back. But we didn't use. They only paid us for the night, charge us for the night or the day and a half. Usually ride airboats in Orlando. Yeah, they were cool. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. It was fun to ride them. And then we did one where we just kind of, guy just drove us around, and we did one where they kind of took us through this little, where the Seminole Seminole and the Indians, I can't even talk. Seminole, you know what I'm talking about, the Indian tribes that were down there. Seminole Indian tribe. We're at a lot of those places in there, and they took us through there and showed us some of like their hunting grounds and stuff. It was kind of cool. Yeah, and here in Ohio, they're called grassman. That's what we've called them. Everybody I've talked to. I mean, there's people, I think people more now use Bigfoot. But if you go out towards Zanesville by the Ohio Triangles, they call it. Most of them call it grassman. In Athens, along from Chillicothe down over to Logan, pretty much they call them grassmen. I've heard boogeyman. A lot of my uncles, if they ever spoke of them, they were either the boogeyman or tree thumpers. I don't know why they called them tree thumpers. It was because they hit the trees with the wood. I've heard that a couple times. When you're young, I didn't really know what they were talking until I got a little older. And a lot of that was a lot of the kin that I knew that I actually got to meet. A lot of them talked about the little folk, the weirdness that went on, the voices that you're not supposed to answer back like I did. But see, I love camping, and I will always go. I mean, some of my best, I guess, pale crawler incidents happened while I was camping. We were camping this one time. I was 19. Went out to a place down in Athens, just north of Athens in the campgrounds. There was campgrounds, and then there was cabins that you could rent. So we got the campgrounds. It was cheaper. We were down there, and there's a lot of caves and stuff that I don't even think have been found down there. I'm sure of it. We down messing around a creek. A couple of the guys had been drinking. I was drinking coffee. I'm not a drinker. Especially when I got older, I stopped pretty much. I think I picked it up again when I was about 20 until I turned legal to drink. But see, when I was 18, I could buy 2 beer here. So, anyways, they'd been drinking. We've been partying up. And we're down messing around. This is probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is like the second day we were there. And not much was going on. In fact, the whole area was fairly quiet. I mean, you couldn't even hear other campers. It was really weird. It's like I wouldn't say unnervingly quiet, but it was like almost a chilled day. It was like silence was calming. I don't know. It was kind of nice. I mean, you didn't hear a whole lot of the animals. You couldn't hear, for some reason, you couldn't hear all the other campers. It was like we were the only ones there, and we were barely hearing anything. We're standing there, and the guys start noticing that. The 2 drunk guys started, Dan and Doug started noticing that, and I'm like, dude, it's all good. So we're down there, we're messing around. We were going to go fishing, and they said, nah, because there's a pond just a little to the west of us. So we're up there. We went back to the campground. Those guys were too doofus to go drive, so they finally passed out in their chairs, in their lounging chairs, or folding chairs. So me and Jesse kind of sat around and talked for a while. He wasn't a drinker either. And we decided to go out for a walk. And we go down to the creek. And every time I get a creek, down by the creek, I have to look for salamanders. I have to look for frogs. It's just the way I am. Even at this age, I still do it. I'm down there flipping stones, trying to be careful so I don't overturn some water snake or something, get bit. And we're playing around, and he had a BB gun with him. And it was a nice one, though. Not a Red Ryder, but it was a good Winston cranker. So, the pump action BB shot. He was out there popping things off and shooting trees and stuff. We're messing around. All of a sudden, we hear Dan scream. I mean, he screamed, and it was a loud scream. And we go running up to the campground. Dan is sitting in his chair doing this. He's doing me. I mean, I'm going, dude, what's wrong? He goes, dude, somebody just touched me. Somebody just touched me. I go, well, where's the other dipshit? Where's Doug? And he goes, he climbed in his tent an hour ago. I go, what? We hadn't been gone that long. He goes, yeah, you guys have been drunk. I've been up and down. I've been up a couple times and went to the bathroom. You thought I was asleep? And I go, yeah, you guys were pretty passed out. And he goes, no. It's just listening to you doofuses talk. Doug got up, and after you guys left, he went into the tent. So I look at the tent. He's out cold. And Dan's going, something touched me, man. I'm telling you, something went up and put their hands on the back of my, come up from behind you, and how you put your hands on somebody and leans on them. It's exactly what it felt like. Somebody put their hands on my shoulder and leaned on me, like they were leaning to look over me. And I turned around, there was nobody there, dude. It scared me to death. He's freaking out. I go, dude, just calm down. Do you know this whole area is old? Yeah. This whole area is ancient. And just like the whole earth is ancient, man, it could be anything. So we finally get him to calm down. We're sitting there, and he decides he's going to drink a cup of coffee. So we're drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm, not doing much, just playing around, talking, picking on each other, picking on him. All of a sudden, we hear this scream. I mean, this woman must have screamed as loud as she could. And the thing was, other campers. There was two other campsites. There was one probably about, I don't know how you would say it, about a quarter of a mile away from us. And then on the other side of us, there was an empty camp spot about a quarter mile away from us. And then an actual camper in one of the campsites that was next to it. They come running out. And we're all looking around going, who's screaming? Because that's scary. And then screams again. And we're all like trying to figure out where the scream's coming from. Because it sounded like bloody murder. I mean, this sounded like this person was being torn up. So we all got real quiet just to listen to a scream. When we all finally got quieted down, even Doug came out of the tent. It was like you could hear a pin drop. I mean, there was that, famous silence. I mean, it was like nothing. And then all of a sudden she screams again. And this time after she screams, you hear a man's voice go, I'm done. And then it got real quiet. And then it felt like ever. I mean, we were just all standing there like, we were looking at the other campsites. One of the guys from the camper is literally running from campsite to campsite while this is going on. But we're all being real quiet. Nobody's saying anything. He's just running around. And it's dead silent. And that screaming after he said, I'm done. It was like you could hear a pin drop. That silent. I mean, everything got still. Even the guy that was looking at the camera, everything froze. And we're waiting and waiting. All of a sudden, you hear this really big bang. And then nothing. And we're all standing there going, we're all freaking out like, did he just shoot her? We're running around trying to look at another campsite. They're going over to the other section. We went up to the next morning. We went up to the, we check in and out at the little cabin, the little check-in point, because it was a privately owned campground. And we were telling the guy, he goes, you know what? This happens about once a month. We have no idea. All we know was this land belonged to a bunch of settlers back in the day, and they never did anything with it because it was all still forest. They didn't try to not even have cows. He said they bought the land, and some people say they disappeared. There's not very many records. We even looked into it, but he says it happens about once a month. And he goes, we don't know when it happens. It's just every so often we have people come running up here telling us this is what they heard today. And you told us the same story referred like 6 times in the last 6 months. And we've been hearing them over the years. Either they're seeing a woman. She said there's been reports that there's been a woman seen in tattered clothes. Nobody can tell the era because the clothes are all torn up on her. And she's running through the woods. And when they go after her, she's gone. People have seen a man walking through what looks like a man, a shadow of a man, walking through the woods or cutting through his campgrounds, and he's just like a shadow, and he's holding a gun. They've seen them together, like at one side of the camp, because it was really weird because the campsite was set in these little sections, and in the middle, if you walk a little bit, in the middle of like a round sets. There's like a campsite, and then a campsite. And then the middle was like bathrooms and a shower. And it was kind of neat setup. They said they see this guy, and they've only seen him together. The guy was telling us they've only heard stories, a couple of stories where they've been seen where the man and the woman have been together. But they can't find any history of the place. All they knew that was settlers there. They knew that there was a teacher in the area back in the day when, you had the little schoolhouse, that teacher had disappeared and nobody knew whatever happened to her. So he always thought maybe that was her and whoever she was involved with having a fight, but nobody knows. They just knew that the family that lived there before, the original settlers of the land, pretty much just disappeared. It's weird. It's good. It's good because I've been told that you can still go to the day. You have to go a lot because it only happens from what we've been understood. I've never been back there a couple of times. It's never happened again since I've been back. But we're told it happens once a month. It's not like a picked day on a special day. It just happens once a month. And then it doesn't happen again until out of the blue it happens the next month. And he says it's weird, but that's the way it works. He says he's had paranormal teams come in here and literally stay for days, weeks, give up, and then they leave. And then next day, some people camping down there would come running up, telling them the same story that we told them, that they heard somebody screaming and gunshots. Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what Japanese believe. Once you scar an environment at home or land, it's kind of curse is played there. So God only knows what happened to the teacher. I don't know if the teacher, the guy couldn't say if the teacher was one of the original settler in that land, or if it was he couldn't give us the whole lowdown. And there wasn't much. We went and looked. We went one time, went camping down there. Nothing happened. So we got curious about the land. The original settlers' names is so blurred on the old print, you can't read the name. His name looked like Harry. And what we can remember was the lady's name was Kathleen. But we couldn't get a last name because, it was old. As for the land, it was like 5 acres around and on the camp area, but they never developed her. They don't know if it doesn't say in any of the books if she was the teacher that disappeared or if she was somebody else. Davy Crotch Kick. I just subscribed to Edna's channel. No videos, but the most gorgeous face, pretty smile. What the heck? How come you sound familiar? Well, welcome, because you look familiar. You've been on here before, haven't you? I'm getting those. Oh, okay. And that's a sweetie. You'd be nice with that. And she gets you. But yeah, so that's a weak thing. Another original. See, that's the things I run into a lot of too, is these residual hauntings. A lot of stuff. It's like when stay at the Worthington Inn in the day when my brother lived there. A lot of that was he was so. I think he just didn't want to leave the place. People say they still have weird stuff that happens there, but I've never heard anything. I asked, but people say, well, they still say things. The workers still run into stuff because they're redoing the place now. Somebody finally bought it. Um, yes, sir. How you doing? Welcome and good to see you, Davey. Good to see everybody again. I didn't realize I had a channel. Yeah, every time you make a, um, once you join YouTube, because you got to sign in. If you want to leave comments and thumbs up and stuff like that, you got to be signed in to. But once you sign into YouTube, you have a channel. You can do anything. You can make your. It's all set up for you to start if you want to start dumping videos, or you don't have to. But yeah, when right before we got married, me and Tina went out one time. We went up to Marblehead, and we were sightseeing, and we found this old house. And I didn't think anything of it. It was a neat old house, and we were walking around. We couldn't get inside, but the dome. That was just beautiful farmhouse. And we walk around. She goes, we had to stop and look at this place. I mean, we could tell it was abandoned, but it was cool looking. It was all the wraparound porch around the whole house. It was just gorgeous, but yeah, it was sad because it was falling apart. It had so much potential. So we'll walk around checking it out. And she goes, I wonder if this place is up for sale. I go, it'd be a nice little place to have. And as we're leaving, the front door opens, like it was inviting us inside. Tina goes, didn't you check that door? And I go, yeah, it was locked. And she goes, it's open. And she looked at me because it's time to leave. And I said, okay. So we left. Didn't think anything of it. That night, we're back at the campgrounds. We had gone to there's this place called Cheese Heaven, which is nothing but like smoked goods, smoked cheeses, smoked meats. And it's great when you're going camping because it's right there. So you just go there, load up on nitpicks and some munchies and go and camp. So we stopped there and went back to the campground. We're all being lazy. Got a nice little fire going. I have to go out and put on the edge of this one campsite that we always get. There's like high grass and then trees. And then the trees kind of thin out. Then you hit the lake. And there's cattails. Well, there's a bunch of coons, not coons, but a bunch of skunks. If you don't pay attention, they'll come in on you while you're sitting around trying to steal your crackers and stuff. So what I got to smart doing was I would buy a big bag of Cheez-Its, a big box of Cheez-Its, and I'd lay them all along the edge so they'd stay away from us. And then I'd throw a bunch of them out there, and we never saw them. After I did that, they never bothered us again. So I'd do it every night we were there. I went out there, put the Cheetos out and the Cheez-Its out and stuff, and come back, and we're sitting there enjoying the fire. She's reading a book, and I'm listening to music on my CD player and not thinking anything about life. We're just chilling. Yeah, the skunks are super curious, too. I think my dog has a love affair with the skunk that lives around here because he keeps getting tagged. Anyways, well, I'm just minding our own business. And I'm kind of laying there, I'm kind of dozing off. And at first I thought it was just me sleeping. And every time I'd kind of open my eyes up and catch myself dozing off, because usually if I get to dozing off, I start rocking. That's when I start rocking. And she'll reach over and tap me because she doesn't want me to break the chair. So I'm dozing off and I'm catching myself some. And I notice I'm starting to rock, and I'm just being cool. She's reading her book, and she's kind of talking to me, and I'm barely hearing her because I have the headset on. And I don't know if I went to sleep. All of a sudden, I feel a tap. I go, okay, I'll stop rocking. And she goes, no, Steve, what's that standing over there by those trees? And it's like a corner. It was literally like a corner. Like the next camp was right next to us, and it's open, so there's no. We could see the campsite. Nobody was next to us, but there was somebody standing. There was like a, like a corner, and he was the tree. Then there was a line of high grass, the way they cut it, and it was not a perfect, but it was, you know what I'm saying. And there was a shadow standing there, and she goes, "He's been standing there for a little bit. Why didn't you wake me up sooner?" And she goes, "Well, I didn't notice. They were just standing there. I don't even know if they're looking at us." And I go, "Well, turn a flashlight on them." And she turns the flashlight on, and it's gone. As soon as she turns the flashlight off, it's there. And you can see it because there's just enough light you could see it standing there. And I'm like, this is not good. And I go, she knew a little, but I kept a lot of what I saw and stuff in life from her. I didn't tell her a whole lot. She knew that weird stuff, and she's been around me enough to know that weird stuff happens. But I never really told her all my stories and stuff, especially with the things that I saw the things I see when I see the things that I see when I watch people, the following people, the things, whatever. I'm having problems. Give me a second. She didn't know about the things that I saw with people that followed people. So she's looking at this, and she turns the light on, it's gone. She turns the light off, and it came back. And I'm like, she's kind of going, okay, what's going on, Steve? She knows I'm into this stuff. She does know that. And I'm going, I don't know. I go to get up, and this guy comes walking out of the high grass with a fishing pole. And I stop, and she looks at me, and it walks right by the shadow. Now, he's not holding a flashlight. He's not holding nothing. He says hi. He goes, "Hi, guys." I said, "Oh, you're awful late to be out there fishing." And he goes, "Yeah, there's a little stream over there, and I've been getting good hits over there at night." And as he's walking and talking to us, this thing turns and follows him. She sees this. Tina sees this and kind of freezes. And I look at her, and I didn't say a thing. I said, "You see that, right?" She goes, "Yeah, it's following him." I go, "Watch, it's going to follow him all the way up to the tent. If he gets in that tent, it will follow him into that tent." It did exactly that. She goes, "How'd you know that was going to happen?" I go, "I just know." I like I said, I never did tell her that that's what I see all the time. But it followed him to the tent. She freaking out. And I'm thinking to myself, she lived with me this long that she's now picking up. Now she's picking up on this stuff. She never saw anything again. But she definitely saw it that night. She definitely saw it that night. And her eyes got this big. When that shadow turned and followed that guy, like it was waiting for him. That's what it was doing. It was just standing there waiting for him. That's the only thing I can think of. And it was definitely, by the way the thing moved with the guy, it was definitely another guy. I could definitely tell it was a human at one time. Now I couldn't pick up the vibe of it, but it was weird to see. Now she's one of probably 5 people who have been with me when I've seen something following somebody. And she's the first one I've ever see what I saw. But the thing was, she never saw anything after that. I would be with her, and we'd be in the store, we'd be in places, we'd be with friends. I'd see one of our friends being followed. I never said anything. She never said anything. And so I don't, and the girls, my daughters say, "Mom never talks about it." So she must not see anything like you do, Dad, because I finally opened it. Since I started doing this, I started opening it to the kids. And the girls, Ashley's and Rebecca, her daughter, she's going to be a lot like me, I'm afraid. But it freaked me out, and it still to this day amazes me, because the other person was the guy I was working with at Bonanza. Now, this is not a camping story, but this is just an incident of one of the number, like I said, it was probably 4 or 5 people. I know there's a fifth one, but I can't remember who it was. The first time was with Tina. The second time was at Bonanza. We were busting tables, and this guy named Jerry, I think his name was Jerry. He didn't last very long. He only lasted like a week. And that might have been why. I was training him to bust tables. He was probably a year younger than me. I was 15 when I started Bonanza and still cutting grass and babysitting kids. And he come from another school because Bonanza down at Grayson. Anyways, I didn't know him. So I was training him. And I'm standing and I'm busting this table. And the table beside me is 2 older people. And then beside them, because the booths up against the wall, so you have the booths up against the wall. I'm busting this booth. He's standing here. I'm busting up the table, showing him how the best way to do it. You got to figure out a way. I mean, what is it to bust a table, But the boss is standing there watching. So I'm doing that, and he's standing up by the register. But there's an older couple there, and then beside them was a younger couple, probably in their 30s. No kid, just a guy and a lady eating their dinner. And he goes, dude, what is that? I go, what is what? And he goes, standing behind the young guy in the second booth over. I look over, lo and behold, there's not even a booth beside that. Right next to where this guy was sitting, where the younger couple was sitting, is the coffee station. So there's no booth. But it literally looked like a little shadow, like a kid. Had his arms on the back of the booth, and it was leaning over the guy, looking over the guy. Just a black shadow. And it wasn't very big. It was small in stature, so it looked like a child. I go, you see that? And he goes, yeah. I go, dude, do you want to know what that is? And he goes, yeah. I go, I think that's a child. I've never seen that one in this place before because I have seen children in Bonanza at that restaurant before come in with parents. And the only thing I can think of is, a child that had passed. Anyways, I'm going, because you really do see it. Because I told you to look. And I go, yeah, I know you told me to look, but I thought you were telling me to look at something else. I didn't. No, I see that look. And he goes, we're talking loud, and this old couple's listening to us. And she turns around and goes, what are you talking about? There's nobody over there. And the old man started laughing. He goes, oh, they're probably smoking that stuff. And they start eating again, and they're laughing. And he's standing there, his white eyes were like this. And he looked at me and looked back, and it was gone. But I could still see it. And he goes, it's gone. I go, no, it's not. It's still there. And he goes, no, it's gone. I go, no, it's still there. And this old lady and this old man's laughing at us. And he goes, no, it's gone. I said, no, it's still looking over the guy. He said, no, it's gone. And I said, but you did see it. And he goes, yes, I told you to look. No, I thought you were telling me to look at somebody. I didn't think you were seeing what I see. Because you see that every day? And I said, yes. I said, not every day, not with everybody, but yes. That was probably the first kid I ever told outright, only because he was seeing what I was seeing. He got quiet the rest of the night. He bust. He made it through the night. Came in, worked a couple more days, and then he quit. I don't know if because it was me, or maybe he was starting to see what I was seeing. I don't know. I never seen him after that. Never saw him again. But it freaked me out. And then the third time was in high school. We were coming down to sophomore year. Yeah, it was my sophomore year. I'm coming down the hall. I'm with a friend of mine, one of my party buddies. They used to come and watch me fight. His name was Dave. He's no longer with us, bless his heart, God rest his soul. We're walking down the hallway, and he goes, Dan says you see stuff. And I said, yeah, sometimes. He goes, you do? And I go, yeah. And I said, it's following people, but he doesn't. Why is he telling you this? He goes, because I do too. And I go, really? He goes, yeah, I see things really weird around my house all the time. I go, do you only see it at home? Or do you see it outside the house? He goes, I see it outside the house too, but mostly at home. I go, what do you see? And he goes, shadows all the time. I go, mostly at home. I go, I see him follow people. He goes, you see him follow people? And I said, yeah. I said, Dan's probably one of the few that know this. Thomas and Patricia. But he didn't know Patricia, but we all went to school together. So Dan knew Thomas, but I didn't talk a whole lot to him because they were those active kids. They were both very up there in the echelon, as one might say. But we've always been good friends. And he goes, okay, yeah, I know Thomas. He goes, yeah, he'll tell you. And he goes, what do you see right now looking down the hallway? And I go, dude, you don't want to know. He goes, well, I see this person. And he talked about a lady, there was a teacher standing on the steps. There's a step, 2 floors, step goes around and on on each big high school. And he goes, that teacher right there's got something standing with it. I go, I see that. And he looks at me and goes, you do see that? I go, yes. It's real thin. It kind of looks like a stick with 2 hands. And he goes, yes. And I go, do you see the thing walking in the bathroom with Davy? There's another Davy, and I'm also I don't remember names, but he goes, yes, I see them going in the bathroom together. He goes, that's not a person. He goes, what? He goes, what? I go, that's not a person. It looks like a person. It is a person, but it's not a living person. He goes, I go, how do you see it? He goes, I see shadow. I go, I actually see a person following that person. That's one of the few times that has happened sometimes. And we're standing there talking about this in the hallway. And I'm realizing I'm not alone. We graduated and I never saw him again. And then the 4th time was, he didn't talk a whole lot about it either. And I have never seen him since. He was kind of a heavy metal guy. I know he played in a band, so I don't know where he moved to. I know he doesn't live in the state anymore. His name was Dave Simmons. That was his name. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's still alive or good. He was a little bit. When he opened up to me, you could tell when he was opening up to me, he wasn't cool with it at all. We had talked a couple times after he wasn't cool with it. And the 4th time, I'm standing in a store with Mom, and it was probably in between my sophomore, junior year. And I'm standing in a store with Mom. And I'm watching a lady at the register. We were at Kmart. And the lady's standing at the register 2 registers down. I'm watching this thing. This shadow was creepy looking only because it was waving. Like, it was really weird. It was just like moving back and forth. It was one of the few ones where it was just really weird. It was just like, it was doing this the whole time it was behind her. I'm standing there watching this thing, trying to figure it out. And the lady behind us goes, what is that? I go, what is what? And she's pointing at the lady I'm looking at, but I didn't think she was pointing at what I was seeing. You go, what is that wiggling behind her? And I go, you see that? And she goes, yeah, I don't know who this lady was. She goes, yeah, I see that. What is that? I go, what do you see? And she goes, it looks like a line just doing this behind that lady. Well, I could see it look like a person, but she was just seeing a line. I go, you see that? And she goes, yeah. I go, would you tell my mother that? My mom turns around and goes, what are you doing? She goes, I see that too. And Mom looks at her and looks at me and looks down. She goes, what do you see? And we both go, I see a person doing this. And she goes, I just see a line just doing this behind that lady. And my mom looked at us and goes, you're both nuts. She just walks away, finished paying. Come on, let's go. I looked at the lady. I was still freaked out. So there are people, I guess, out there like me. I'm sure there is. But yeah, she freaked me out because her eyes were real big. It was like, I don't know if she sees them like that on a daily basis like I did. But it definitely caught her off guard because her eyes, it's amazing when people see this stuff because some people's eyes get so huge. But camping has always been a weird event. We was camping down in Athens at one time again. And we were over actually by the university. And we were camping, and we were at somebody's house. And we were camping in their backyards, which was nothing but forest. And we're down there hanging out, drinking and partying. They are. Like I said, I was usually a designated driver. even though I had my nights. No, I'm not denying I didn't have my nights. And we're down there having a good time. And it was a Thursday night because it was during the summer. And we were down in this hollow. It was like a creek bed, and then the hills kind of came down, and the creek came through. And if you walk up it, then you go up, and the creek actually goes up a hill. Actually, it's flowing this way, but if you go opposite and follow the creek going the opposite way, where it's coming from is you go up this hill and there's a pond, and it's a runoff from the pond. And I was out walking one day. Those guys, we were out playing around, and I figured I'm just going to go for a walk. That's what I do. I go out and I commune with nature. I love being in the woods alone. It doesn't bother me. So I'm walking around. I don't go too far. And I can hear them hooting and hollering, having fun. And I get up to where you start to climb up to where the pond's at. And all of a sudden, up out of the water, because, literally, if somebody would take a stick, even an M80, and stuck it in the dirt right there and blew a hole in it, you'd probably have half that pond come down. If it weren't for the rocks and the way they did it, because it's literally on the hill, the pond goes pond, and then there's a drop off. And there's like a pipe on the pond where the water drains into it and then comes out, and you can see where it comes out of the dirt because you climb up by it. And I'm coming up, and all of a sudden this head pops up. I'm like, what? There's somebody swimming in the pond? All I saw was the top of the head. It was white. But, it happened so fast. And I'm like, somebody's swimming in the pond? Not that it'd probably be nice, but it had a lot of old dead branches and stuff on it. The guy that owned the area only took out the big stuff and left some of the small stuff in there soon because he had bad, he stocked it and stuff. Well, I had a nice catfish in there. So I get up to the top, and as I reach the top, I see this. It was weird looking. Now, this is what I would call a pale claw. It was probably about 6'2". It was pretty tall. It was at least 6 foot tall. Nothing but skin and bones, all white. White as white can be. And when I come up with the hill, it was coming out of the water on the other side of the pond, up on this little hillside. And it kind of, because when you get up on the pond, it kind of goes over, and then it starts going up. And then there's a house off to the right of it if you're facing the back, because I was coming up at the back of the pond. And then the guy's cabin and where we were camping out. I come up over, it's coming out of the water. This is like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'm like, who's swimming? And I still thought it was somebody swimming until it all the way got out of the water, and I really got a good look at it. I'm like, shit. That thing on all fours goes up on the land, gets up on the thing, up on the little lip there, turns around and looks me right in the face, screeches, and I didn't see no teeth. It's just hollow, but the eyes are just black. It screeches at me, kind of backs off, and I go, boo, just for fun of it. I was scared. Because, it was right there. It'd have to come across the pond to get me, but damn. The only way I was going down that hill fast was if I was falling. And it's Meagle going. That's kind of what it looked like, but a huge version of it. And it screeched at me. And I did. I literally slid down half the hill and started climbing back up because I wanted to see where it went. And it was gone when I got back up there. So I went and got Greg. And we walk over, and we come down the other way and walk over to where I saw it come out at. The bush is all smashed down, and there's two, I swear the fingers on that thing had to have been that long. The fingers was like, it wasn't like the rakes that I don't like calling them that, but they were long, and there were two handprints and you could see where it picks up out the ground. We were going to go get a cast kit, and when we came back, they all filled in water, but we didn't have nothing to make a cast with them. I would have. It was creepy. Even Greg was like, "What'd you see?" And I go, "Because that looked like somebody with some." Because he was saying the hands look like that, the prints look like that because they pulled themselves out of the water, which is probably possible. But he's like, "Did you see who they were?" He didn't think it. I was describing, dude. It was white. I mean, it was skinny. It was. He goes, "No." You saw somebody over here probably skinny and dipping. You don't want to tell me what's going on. I just stopped. That was before he saw what he saw. But that was weird. And usually, every time I've seen these barrel crawlers, the other time we weren't camping, we were staying with friends. And they had a big well down there in Athens. They live right next to campus, main campus areas. And on his house, but there's an old well behind their house. And he would tell me that he would see this thing coming in and out of his well all the time, especially around full moons. He said you'd see it plain as day. It comes out of the well and goes back in the well, but nobody's got the guts to go look for it. I stayed with him one night. I'll be damned. Full moon, because we made it. I made it. He told me you got to come around full moon and see it. And it was a full moon, probably early September. And lo and behold, this white thing, probably about 6 feet, maybe a little longer, but it was all stretched out, all skin and bones. Actually, this one looked like he had a shirt on. It was all tattered, but he had something draped over his chest and his back. Come climbing out of that well, took off in the woods because I never see him come back. And he says, when I do, it's really early in the morning, right before dusk. Because if you want to stay up and wait for it or go look for it, you can. I ain't doing it. And I've seen it a couple times coming in and out of that well. I don't know if I haven't talked to him. I knew he was going to sell the property 2 years ago, but I don't know if he ever did or not. Now I got to read all these comments since I was rambling. I didn't read. I thought I was having, I'm not sure what remains. Was it? I just saw the last weekend, blah, blah, blah. I thought I got rid of her thing about 10 months ago after I had the Ghost has a lot of creepy counters. Yeah. And I do have some, like Ryan says, I do have some of these things where I've seen things coming around and messing around and force houses, other people, these spider-like things that have more than one arms that look like human spiders. I've seen those a few times. I don't know why I keep seeing them, but I do. And it's really creepier when you see one attached to somebody. Oh, man. And then it takes a lot to scare me, but it gives me the willies. And then I find myself not looking in the mirror for a couple of days or afraid to take a picture because I'm afraid of seeing what's behind me. Because if any of those things give me the creeps, it's probably the spider-looking ones. Probably give me the creeps the most. Only because they come off as evil. They come off as bad. Really bad. Depressing. Just some of the one I had this one that I saw attached to this guy. Even the guy come off as kind of a scummy, kind of just low life, low vibrating. Just this person wasn't good before it came. Let me put it that way. Whatever was attached to him, he was already bad. It attached himself because he was that bad. It was just not good. And I could feel it. I mean, you could tell even when he walked into line, it was like people moved away from him. And he wasn't an intimidating guy, no more than me. But he was just, I can remember that day because, I mean, he literally got in line and people actually moved out of his way. Yeah, I saw it before Andy. Kind of scary to me. I never lost his ability. He never lost his ability to see. I think we are all born with it as we get. Yeah, I do too. And some people get lucky and get away with walking away from it. And some of us, we don't get that lucky. You know, I've tried everything. I know, Edna, you say you don't like what you see. I don't like what I see, but I've had to accept it because I've tried it. I mean, everything. All now is just the good Lord protects me, and that's what I'd hope. Most of the time, I don't think I still, in most cases, these things don't see me seeing them. But there have been moments a lot lately where I'm pretty sure they might be. The ones I'm seeing looking back at me, I'm pretty sure are seeing. You know, it's like my last doctor appointment. Was it Monday? Last Monday, not this Monday. It was last Monday. If I wouldn't have to been at a meeting at 2:00, I would have followed that black-eyed kid through that whole hospital. He was there again, and I couldn't follow him. I tried to take a picture of him again. Nothing. Not a thing. It irks me because it's hard to explain stuff. I'm not a big picture taker anyways, but I do try to catch a picture of him because I've talked about him for so long. And I just, if anything, if I want to prove anything to anybody, it's this kid I keep seeing in hospitals. This black-eyed kid that dresses like Dennis the Menace. It's just creepy. And some days it gets me mad because I've literally have tried to follow him around. I've literally tried to catch pictures. But Monday, I was close as I could ever have been to him. I even tried to reach out and touch him. But he was gone. Just poof, gone. And it was like, I gotta go. I got a meeting at 2:00. I can't stand it. It was literally running from one doctor's office to a lunch meeting that I had to be at. But okay, I'm gonna get him yet. I just hope I never see the white-eyed girl again, because even though I wasn't really threatened by her, she kind of unnerved me a little bit. Like if I saw her again, it wasn't a good thing. So I don't want to see her again. And I'm glad I only saw her once. So that was a wild encounter. And I don't think she was something bad, but I don't think she was something good either. That makes sense. I don't know really what she was. Anyways, I dreamt later. I found this thing. Woke up and with bruises. Yeah, that's sadness story. It's a Wendigo. The Wendigo in Ohio is pretty. I don't think what we see here in Ohio. I'm pretty sure pale crawlers. These things look like they live in dark environments, caves. I mean, I know that's not where all pale crawl. I don't know, but I mean, Ryan's not here to back me, but you know, most of the times I've seen these things, they either around caves, wells, because I know down by the pond there is a cave not far from that, and I'm thinking that's where he was headed, because there's what we call a whole cave. It's literally you got to run down the mountain. There's a bunch of trees, and there's a big old hole, probably big enough a bear could fit in it. You know, a good sized person could fit in the hole. I just don't know where it goes. For a while, they had somebody had put like chicken wire because it's literally in between two trees. It doesn't look like it's been dug out. It just looks natural, but it's been there for a very long time. And what they did was they would take chicken wire, but it was gone. They had been gone for years. For the last couple of years that we went down there, it was gone. So I don't know if somebody just ripped it off or what the deal was, but I'm pretty sure that might have been where it was going. It was heading in that direction. I just didn't have the guts to go follow it. I was already muddy and stuff anyways from sliding down the hill half the way. A Wendigo is like a curse, like a soul. It's like an entity that takes over you. It's usually due to you either being a cannibal or starvation. Ryan's the man to talk to about this, but I'm in the right ballpark. Skinwalkers are only around the four sacred mountains? Because that's where the magic is the strongest. Skinwalkers are made by magic. They're entities, most likely Navajo, a couple other tribes, where they're witch doctors and they go dark and they literally sacrifice somebody to gain this power. Usually a loved one or somebody they can con into it. Vixen will tell you what a skinwalker is. She knows. She's dealt with one. Thank you. Ron, you want to hear a good story? I don't know if you were around when she told her story. She's got a heck of a story. But there is a difference. Wendigos are more known to Canada. They can be seen here in wildernesses where, people have known to starve to death or done bad things to eat. So, but most of the times you hear about Wendigo, it's up north. It's Canada. That's where I've always heard most of the lore come from. Maybe Michigan, Dakotas, Minnesota, maybe up in the northern tips. A lot of it takes place during winter when you're starving for food. But yeah. But Vixen has a hell of a skinwalker story because I'm pretty sure that's what she dealt with too. In fact, she knows that's what she dealt with. Now, I've been talking for a while. It's 2:00. I guess I'll make that the last story. Sorry. It's a Wednesday night. Tomorrow's a busy day. I try to make some of the late nights for Saturday night because Sunday I can pretty much get away with sleeping in or trying to sleep in without somebody telling me, oh, it's time to get up and go to work. Even though I'm already awake and just laying there trying to keep from breaking the bed. Yeah, there's a very big. This is what makes me and Ryan upset, Ron, when you watch these top tens and stuff, where everything's a Wendigo and everything's a skinwalker. That's not the case. Most skinwalkers are around the four sacred. It's the four sacred mountains, right? One time I thought it was 7, but it's 4. I think one's in Arizona or 2 are Arizona. Ryan can tell you where the mountains are. But that's where the strongest are magic. The magic is the strongest for them. And usually if you're dealing with a skinwalker, you've dealt with somebody, you're dealing with somebody that's into some very deep and dark magic. Black magic. Magic with a K and over again. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that you don't want to mess with. Especially if they can do what they can do with that magic. Vixen got lucky. And I'm glad she did because she wouldn't be around to tell us the story. And she's a nice lady, and we need her in this world. So something stopped it. Yeah, it's getting late. Babe, black-eyed kid is coming tomorrow. Still got those eyes, huh? You said they were starting to change, right? And yeah, I'm going to get ready to get off here. In fact, I probably am going to call. And I hope you guys had a good time. Edna's my clock now. Have fun with the little one, Edna. Everybody have a wonderful night. Tomorrow night, Pixie at 8:00. Please join us. I'll be in the background. Not on screen, but I'll be in the background. Excuse me. And again, tomorrow night, Pixie, 8:00. Friday night, 7:15. Gemma for intuitive 1 card intuitive. I can't even talk tonight. I'm surprised I was able to make it through the night. Oracles is Friday night with Gemma. She starts at 7:15, but she's been starting early if she can. So you might want to show up early. Nightmare, there you are. Saturday night, I'll be here at midnight, 5 after. I always do that on Saturday nights, 5 after midnight. So just know that I won't pop on till at least 5 after midnight on Saturdays. Gemma's replay. Off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's off Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Hopefully, in the second week of September, we should be back at Tuesdays again for 1:00 Tuesday talk. And then Wednesday, me, and then, schedule starts over again. I do believe she has a video coming tomorrow. I know she was having problems uploading it. So keep an eye on your YouTube in the morning. Because if it loads for her, it will be on at 11. I think it's a good one too. Can't remember. She'll shoot me later, but yes. So she should have a premiere on at 11 tomorrow if it uploaded. She was having problems uploading it tonight. All kinds of problems. See what else. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed some of them. I don't go into details because what happens happens. I just tell it pretty much as best I can. I mean, there have been times in my life where it just didn't stop, and there were times in life, moments in life where nothing happened for months. There were certain ages, definitely between 5 and 8, was really crazy for me. Um, Off and on until about 11. Then when I started picking up again, it was probably about 5th, 6th grade, about when I saw the Hat Man. And that was 5th grade, is when really started kicking up a notch. And then after the cemetery incident, it just been consistent. So I hope you guys had fun, and we'll do the same thing next Wednesday. What I've been doing is just going through a book, kind of scanning over some of my stuff that I've written down over the years. Some of it I've remembered, so you have to bear with me. Back then, we didn't have, I didn't walk around with a tape recorder or a big old VCR, and we didn't have cameras on the phone. I was never big on taking pictures because I never thought, my view was then and as is now is you never trust anything you see anymore anyway. So I never made a big deal, but I do have pictures put away that I'm going to probably break out later down the road of some stuff that I've seen, just odds and ends. Nothing fancy, nothing too scary. That's it. So have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, folks. Have a wonderful day tomorrow, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. I hope I see you in the premiere for GEMMA'S if it uploaded at 11. And see you for Miss Pixie tomorrow night. Folks, have a wonderful one. Thank you for joining me. It means a lot. I'm sure I'm going to say all this over again in the comments. Please leave a comment. Please leave a like. Thanks for all of you folks that hung out and ghosted in the background. Have a wonderful one. Peace out. Much love to you all. And I will see you on the flip side.